How's the fight going to go between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury? This is how it's going to go. But first, you may be asking yourself, why are you holding a towel? Why not? It looks cool. Anyway, I believe the Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua fight is going to go a lot like the Tyson Fury, not Tyson Fury, the Anthony Joshua Kubrat Pulev fight, other than I don't believe Fury's going to be getting knocked down like that. I think this new Joshua fights with an edge. That's why I knew he was going to go right through Kubrat Pulev once I saw Pulev was running his mouth at the press conference, and or was it the weigh-in? I think, yeah, it was the weigh-in. I knew once I saw him running his mouth, he's going to bring out the street side of Anthony Joshua. You know, the one that likes to talk to his opponents when he's beating them up and sticking out his tongue. I knew that Anthony Joshua was going to show up. So, and you know Tyson Fury's going to be doing a lot of talking because that gives him an edge in a lot of his fights. I think it gave him an edge in the last Wilder fight was all that talking. I think he got in Wilder's head. Wilder looked shook before the fight started, the way he was pacing back and forth in the dressing room. He seemed nervous. And you could just tell Joshua had an edge when he was fighting Pulev, even at the beginning when the referee's giving them their instructions and they're supposed to hit gloves. You see Joshua hit down and then go up like that, like, get your hands out of here. But I think what Joshua has to do is come out, you know, maybe a little faster than he did in the Pulev fight. And he can't fall for the feints that Tyson Fury likes to throw. Tyson Fury's notorious for throwing those feints over and over, and then he'll jab you. You can't go for that, you know. If he feints once or twice, just remain calm and then learn his pattern and then counter that. You saw how Joshua countered Pulev. He leaned all the way back and came up with the nice uppercut, and that's his most vicious punch. Even Tyson Fury said when they sparred when they were younger, Joshua came out and caught him with an uppercut, and it rattled him. And he said Joshua beat him up for 3 rounds, I believe. So if that was an inexperienced Joshua, granted, you know, Tyson Fury was less experienced back then too, but if Joshua was beating him up like that in the amateurs, what's he going to do now? Because he's increased his knowledge of the sport. You see he's increased his game. Not only can he box and move around now, he can punch. He put on a boxing clinic to Pulev, and I don't care what anybody says, you know. Joshua has a lot of haters out there for a lot of different reasons. You know, he's a young, good-looking guy with millions, and, you know, people get jealous of that. And of course, they're not going to come out and admit it. And some might not even know they're jealous of him. But, you know, how can you criticize a guy that pretty much fought a flawless fight? Oh, well, he should have finished him like this and that, and where was this and that? Stop. The dude dominated Pulev. Total domination. You'd be hard-pressed to get Pulev 2 rounds in that fight. But I think Joshua should come out, you know, learn the pattern of Fury's feints, catch him, counter punch, you know, work on the counter punching a lot and just get aggressive. And Fury can't back Joshua up the same way he did Wilder because Joshua's a bigger guy, you know, he's more heavily muscled than Wilder. So you try to back Joshua up, you might catch something. George Foreman used to say, never follow a puncher, meaning you're going to walk into something. And I even heard Evander Holyfield say, you know, when you're coming in like that, you're putting your weight onto their punch, which makes the impact even greater. So I believe Joshua's going to go in there smart, go in there and fight smart, move around, punch when necessary, and it'll probably go the distance, but I definitely think Tyson Fury will get knocked down maybe a couple times, and people like to talk about Joshua's chin. I'm like, hold up. Tyson Fury got knocked down by Cunningham, who's a cruiserweight. You know, this dude was not a big guy. Deontay Wilder, even though he has punching power, he's not a big guy. So how's he going to react when a big guy hits him that has power and knows how and has some actual boxing skill? And you can't rate Tyson Fury the best. I like Tyson Fury, but you can't rate him the best because he put on a flawless performance against Wilder because Wilder can't box. Kubrat Pulev is not the best boxer in the world, but he's got a lot more skill than Deontay Wilder. So Joshua just has to move around, throw combos. I mean, like I said, the uppercut is his best punch, and he connected with that picture perfect overhand right and ended Pulev's night, and then gave the George Foreman bow, like Foreman did at the '68 Olympics. So Fury's gonna come in, like I said, and be talking like he does during the fight, and Joshua will talk back, and Fury will be clowning around, putting his hands behind his back, and that's a good time to counter when his hands are behind his back. You can't defend yourself. You can't defend yourself when your hands are behind your back. And some fighters sit there and act like they're just unfocused when they see Tyson, put his hands behind his back and clown around. They sit there and watch instead of doing something. I'm like, now's the time to punch. So I'm predicting Joshua by, I'll say, unanimous decision. I think Fury will go down at least 2 times, and there'll be a rematch, and Joshua will win that too. I like Tyson Fury. They're my top fighters right now. Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. But people just kind of overdo what Tyson Fury's skills are. I heard an interview with James Bashir, who used to work in the Klitschko camp, worked with Lennox Lewis. I met him at the Lewis Klitschko fight. He came up to me and just started talking. And real nice guy. And I heard an interview with him the other week, and he was talking about, he's like, Fury's good, but he's not great. And he picked Joshua to win too, and he's been in camp and seen a lot of top fighters. So of course Tyson Fury's gonna look indestructible when you're fighting a guy that doesn't know how to box. But Anthony Joshua keeps improving. We'll see what Tyson Fury has. If he has a tune-up before the big fight with Joshua, we'll see how he fights. But you remember, Fury had a tough time with Otto Wallin, and he's nowhere near on the level of Anthony Joshua. Joshua has the better resume. Check his fighters versus the fighters Tyson Fury's fought. So Joshua's got to keep that jab going. His jab's really improved. I went back and rewatched the fight, and Joshua has a quick jab. It was coming fast, and Kubrat Pulev was having a tough time. And I wish these fight stats would do like HBO used to do. When they do reach, don't go from fingertip to fingertip. You're getting their wingspan, not their actual reach. HBO would do armpit to fist. That way you get their own reach. That way you get the right reach. A fighter might go into a fight thinking he's got the shorter reach because of the way they measure, or because he's the shorter fighter. Sometimes the shorter fighter has a longer reach than the taller fighter, or just the same. So measuring from armpit to fist, who knows whose arm is longer, Fury or Joshua? Who knows? And I don't believe Tyson Fury is really 6'9". He's more like in the 6'7" range. But I think Joshua's got this fight, and like I said, he's fighting with an edge now, and he's added to his arsenal. And what Tyson Fury would have to do to actually maybe get in Joshua's head would be to do something different. Don't do what's predictable. He likes to talk a lot in the build up towards the fight to help sell the fight, but this fight won't need selling. People have been talking about it for months already. If he goes into the fight not saying nothing, just quiet, Josh will be like, hey, what's going on here? If he goes into the fight quiet and he's still working with Sugar Hill and he's sitting down on his punches, it could be a slugfest. And in a slugfest, I still favor Joshua. Both guys get up, though. I got to give Tyson Fury that. Both guys get up. I'm going to say give up, but both guys get up. It'll be a great fight. I like both of them, respect them both. I respect the UK fans. some great boxing fans. I used to hear them cheering when I go to Lennox Lewis fights. There's some dedicated fans fly all the way over from the UK to America to watch Lennox Lewis. Anyway, this is Jay Roos. This is the Jay Roos theory, the only theory that matters. Beat down the like button, comment, share, subscribe, and be fearless.